What's up guys, my name's Hugh Miller, and today I want to start the second season of the Nancy Drew game development series. Ideally, these videos will be shorter, in-depth, and cover several more specific aspects about the development and tech of the Nancy Drew games. This first video will be covering nodes. Now, I've discussed what nodes are in parts 1 and 2 of the first series, but in case you haven't seen those, I'll be going over it again here. Nodes are one of the key pieces for navigating throughout the several locations in the games. They are scenes that are made up of several renders, and it allows the player to spin either left or right in a circle endlessly. Nodes really put the player in the world and gives them a chance to see more of the incredible work that was done on these games. Now that's just what they do. Let's talk about how they're made and how they work on the tech end of things. For the purposes of this video, we're going to go back in time and look at one of the nodes from Dwayne's office in Stay Tuned for Danger. While in development, Robert Riedel mapped out what Dwayne's office would look like in a bird's eye view with all the camera angles and viewable areas laid out. Once the 3D artist has finished creating the location in 3ds Max, this is the 3D software that was used for pretty much all the locations in all the games. They'll refer to the drawn layout in order to put all the cameras where they need to be placed for the renders. Here's a screenshot from the development of Sea of Darkness. You'll notice these objects floating around the screen. These are the cameras. They're invisible when the render is created, but it tells the program what is to be rendered from what angle and height. Regarding nodes, however, the artist would simply plant a camera in one spot, then rotate it for each render so the space can be captured in a 360-degree view. Let's look at the original code for this scene that allows the players to spin left or right. This is saying that the scene can be panned in a 360-degree area. It's also saying there are 60 frames in the background AVF, even though there are actually only 20 frames in the node. Each rotation is by 6 degrees, which is why there are 60 frames in the background AVF. And finally, the format for viewing the room and the sound panning is 360 degrees. I actually recreated a node from Seekers Can Kill in an engine called Construct 2 to try and give a better idea of how nodes work, as Her Interactive's proprietary engine code isn't very user-friendly. Let's take a look at it. So here we are in my version of Aunt Eloise's house in Construct 2. And so as you can see, I can spin around in a complete 360-degree area. This would be the entrance node for Aunt Eloise's house. Now, this actually took me quite a while to figure out how to code, believe it or not. It's not as simple as just pressing on this part of the screen or this part of the screen. It actually is a bit more complex than that. But you know, I figured it out. So let's take a look at it. So you've seen it in action. You know how a node works. It's just as simple as that. Now, if we actually look at the code for it, this is what I've come up with to allow me to spin in a 360-degree area. So if we look at the scenes, we have these areas here. So this is the spin right area, this is the spin left area, and this is the dead area. This is the area that once the mouse crosses over into this area, you will stop spinning. And that is shown down here. So we're going to look at just the mouse functions before we look into the actual node functions. So with lines of code 10 to 14, we're showing that once the left mouse button has clicked whatever area, then the game needs to know to set the animation speed to either 2 or -2, and this allows it to turn right or left. It's just as simple as that. Same with and that's with the left mouse button. If you wanted to go faster, you'd hold down the right mouse button to go 5 or -5, and that's frames per second, by the way. So that's 5 frames per second right or 5 frames per second left. Now, if we look at the upper code, lines 6 to 9, this is the code telling the game that once, if the cursor is over the spin left area, and the animation frame is on frame 29, and the left mouse button is down, it needs to set the repeat to frame to 0, and the animation speed needs to be set to 2. Now, this all might not make sense to you. Now, allow me to explain. If we look at the living room node and we double click on it, we have all these frames down here, and these are all the node frames that are seen in the game. And so basically, we need to tell the game to run through all these frames in sequential order. And then once it gets down to here, to number 29, it needs to know to go back to 0. Or if we are turning this way, it needs to know to go back from 0 to 29 to keep looping. And that is what this code what this code does. The repeat to frame means that once it gets to frame 29, it needs to repeat back to 0 in order to make a seamless loop, a seamless 360-degree turn. And that goes with spinning right. It's the same thing. And this just allows you to spin faster. These two lines of code, two sets of code, I guess, allow you to spin faster. And these are the exact same lines of code, but allow you spinning slower if you click the left mouse button. And that's it on my end, so let's go back to the video. And that about covers nodes. I really hope this video is informative and provided a bit more insight to a classic piece of the first 32 Nancy Drew games. If there's any other part of the Nancy Drew games development that you want to know more about, please let me know in the comments. I love making videos talking about the behind the scenes of these games, and there's so much more to talk about. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your day.